What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of The Rose Show. As always, I'm your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today, my guest is my friend, Bake Low. Man, I got so much respect for this dude that, I got a chance to travel with him, which we'll hear about here shortly. I got a chance to travel with him once upon a tour, and we really got to know him. He has done nothing but shine ever since, and I got to be 100% honest, man. One of the reasons why I wanted to have him is because I feel like he has slept on quite a bit. And he deserves his moment, man. He's a hard worker. He's probably one of the hardest working dudes in the underground that I know of. So, excuse me. I at least wanted to give him an opportunity to, have somebody to hopefully get his product in front of some new eyes, and I'm hoping I can do that for him. But regardless, I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one, and we just have a lot of fun. Not a lot of format with this one, and we normally when we do this kind of stuff with people that I'm familiar with. I'm trying to throw format out of the window as much as possible so we can just, have a good conversation because that's what this show is all about. Good conversations, right? So I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one, like I said. And not much to talk about today other than just, getting straight into the interview. Not a whole lot going on. As of this recording, the Reds have not totally embarrassed themselves when it comes to this season. So that's a plus, I suppose. But there's plenty of time. As of this recording, we're on game 5, I think is tonight. So there's a whole week of games that have happened since before then. So before this comes out anyway. So maybe they've gone full embarrassment by now by the time you're watching this. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, other than that, man, I just, hope everybody's doing well out there. It's storm season, so be careful and make sure you're taking all those warnings out there seriously, because I know we've had a couple instances where it got pretty bad here in our area. So make sure you're taking that shit serious, because you should. Regardless if, the weatherman's wrong, you should always protect yourself. So anyway, that's enough of my fatherly PSA for the day. Let's go ahead and get into my interview with my homie, Bake Low, after a word from my sponsor. Check it out, y'all. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jay, and I'm here for W Energy, my sponsors. Now, what is W Energy, you might ask? W Energy is clean, jitterless energy. Better than the canned stuff that you would get at your convenience stores, your gas stations, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have all that trash in it. Now, how do I know? Because I myself use W Energy. So what I've got here, a couple of limited edition flavors. For instance, W Energy puts out this stuff called Grandpa's Ginger Water. I know it don't sound that great, but it is amazing. Limited run that they came out that I've got actually multiple tubs of. I believe in W Energy. I use W Energy myself. Also, this was just released, and it's another limited edition flavor that they come out with, and it's called Pom Blom. It's pomegranate blossom. Real nice, clean flavor. And a lot of W Energy, whether it be classics like Calio Cream or the Dub Sludge, whatever it might be, it is clean energy. It's not going to make you feel all crappy at the end of the day after using it. Now, here's what I want you to do, because again, they're obviously a sponsor of mine. But what I want you to do is I want you to go to www.w.gg, order one of the sampler packs, which you get one of these cool tumblers, a part of the sampler pack. And I want you to grab one, but don't use my promo code. That's right. Don't use my promo code Who Else at checkout, because I want you to try it without thinking I'm just trying to sell you a bill of goods. Try it one time, and then when you go back to buy your second order of W Energy, then use my promo code Who Else at checkout for a 10% discount, because all you're going to do is try it. I know you're going to love it. That's how much I believe in this product, and I thank them for sponsoring the show today. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of The Rose Show. As always, I'm your host, Jay. Who else but me? And today, I have got someone with me. This is actually one of my favorite kind of episodes to record, because I get to actually sit down and have a conversation with somebody I'm really cool with and I've known for quite a few years. And not only that, there's quite a bit about them as well that I don't know, which is weird, because we actually traveled the country together for like 30 days at one point in time. And so I should know everything there is about him to know about him, but I don't. But that's fine. But we're gonna fix all that right now. Not only that, we're gonna have a conversation with what he's got going on now, because the last couple of years he's actually done quite a bit of cool shit, and I got a lot of respect for this man's hustle and what he's about and what he represents, and we'll get into all that here in a little bit. But for the time being, let's go ahead and go with the introduction into who the man is. It is the one, the only Bake Low. My friend, how are we doing today?
I'm doing blessed, man. Absolutely happy to be here. Honored to be a part of it, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, before we get into how I know you and all that stuff, let's go ahead and get into the very beginning. Tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you got into the underground music scene.
I actually started really early. I want to say I was around like 13 or 14 when I really started dabbling in music. Um, one of my friends started uh like recording music here and there or whatever, and I thought it was pretty cool. Wanted to try it out. Started off recording on like this little computer microphone that I duct taped to the wall, and I stood my bed up and like had a box spring and a mattress on each side, just to I don't know, try to create some kind of soundproofing, I guess. And I wasn't using a any kind of software. I was just recording it right onto the computer recorder. So like I had to have the speaker, the computer speaker, and the microphone, and me like all at the perfect distance to record it all in one take. And like that's how I did it at first, and then I started using Sony Vegas to record, which was a video editing program. Then FL, and eventually got into Pro Tools. But yeah, I started early, man. I was like 13 or 14 when I recorded my first song. Uh, and then I met a dude named Icarus who really started, you know, taking a shine to me. I was selling a lot of tickets to, the local shows in my area, and he eventually introduced me to ABK, and then yeah, I ended up touring with ABK and Blaze. I think this was the first drive-by tour, and yeah, I was 16 at the time. I turned 17 on the tour in Las Vegas, which was pretty cool. Um, yeah, I mean, started rough, but now I'm here doing big and beautiful things.
So let's go ahead and go back because one of the things that I always find interesting to people that are in the underground music scene is what was the first couple of albums that you were introduced to? And it doesn't have to be like ICP by default. I mean, you were, it could be anybody, from where you live because you were in the heart of it all. So what were your first couple of
Right.
albums that you heard that really pulled you into the scene that made you feel like, hey, this is what I want to do?
So, uh, honestly, what what really kind of started my like interest in music in like a whole, as far as like not just like whatever's on the radio's plans, whatever is uh the first CD I ever bought, which was uh the Black Parade. Yep. I was super young, and then um I bought the Marshall Mathers LP, and then uh shortly after that I got and I bought a Paul Wall CD. I just started like what I'm saying, like picking up all these CDs and stuff. But then shortly after that, a friend introduced me to ICP, and I mean it was over from there. Like I fell in love with it. But what really got me wanting to do it, like I thought about it, and then like other than like my friends starting to do it and like kind of talking me into doing it, I watched the 50 Cent movie Get Rich or Die Trying, and I was like, man, this is so dope. Like I want to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why that movie of all movies would make me want to rap. He's getting shot and shit, and like I was a little kid. When I seen this movie for the first time, I was probably 12. You know, and yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it was that movie. Getting into the Juggalo scene, and then my friend, that's how I met him. Uh, introduced me into music, and I was like, man, I really want to be a part of this Juggalo scene. Like, I just love it.
Yeah. if I remember correctly, because I think the first time I ever booked ABK, I did it through Icarus. He was somebody, he did some routing and stuff like that for ABK for a while too, didn't he? And he was an artist himself, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. He used to book tours for him. Um, man, I don't even know what years. Like this is way back, but yeah, he's how I got introduced to him because I was signed to his label, which was called Verbal Abuse at first, and then after that, I started getting cool with ABK. Then I ended up signing to Native World. Um, yeah, Icarus was around for a while, man. He was really hot in the underground scene, for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. I remember the name as soon as you said that, and I was sitting there thinking about. I'm like, where the hell do I know that? But that makes a lot of sense that he introduced you into that. So,
Yep.
okay. Which, by the way, I almost got up and got it, but it doesn't matter. I have the Black Parade vinyl sitting right there on top of my desk.
Oh no
That
shit.
album for
That's
me,
so tight.
and look, people can judge us if they want to right now. I don't give a shit. That album for me dropped at a time. Fuck it. I'll just say it. The year that album dropped, my oldest sister Mandy died in a car wreck. So it was like,
Damn.
for some reason, I attached to that record. And I don't know if it was
Right.
because it was just like the vibe of that record is kind of like, I don't know, almost like a funeral vibe almost. Like you're
Yeah.
getting to the next phase of whatever realm of reality you are. And songs like I Don't Love You, I put that one on repeat. Made no sense at all, like to the flow of what I was feeling, but the music is what I just attached to. Um
Yeah.
yeah, so that record in particular, there was another one, a Breaking Benjamin album called Phobia. Those were the two that I really attached to during that time frame. But I've
Yeah.
got a special place in my heart for the Black Parade, man. It's a really good record by
Yeah.
itself. Forget all my trauma that I attached to that record. It's a great record on its own. So,
I mean,
yeah,
I, I have attached trauma to it as well. But I mean, even still to this day, I listen to that record like front to back. Like I absolutely love it, and the visuals from it, and then just how it sounded. I think that's what really like opened my mind. To like, there's so much more than just what you hear on the radio and stuff. And me being a young influential kid, I'm just like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, I love this, and I jumped to it quick. But I knew I was like, I ain't gonna start no band. Couldn't sing to save my life. Don't know how to play any instruments. So, you know what I'm saying. So when rapping came into the picture, I was like, all right, yeah, there we go. I'll do that.
yeah, and it's hard to explain this to people now because we live in a society as such, like every genre kind of mixes in with each other now. It didn't used to be that way. Like at one point in time, it was not okay to be in the underground and liking ICP and Twiztid and then liking My
Right.
Chemical Romance. And it
Oh
same
yeah,
goes
for sure.
the exact same goes with like metal. You couldn't be a metal fan and like rap. Now it's like if you
Yeah.
don't see Tech Nine at Rock on the Range, you're like, what are you guys doing? You know what I'm saying? It was a
Yeah.
completely different world back then. So a lot of people might be listening to this and going, what's the big deal? Well, we come from a time frame where it wasn't okay to kind of like that kind of stuff, especially back then. So anyway, that's neither here or there. I didn't really mean to go on a PSA for My Chemical Romance, but hey, that's where we ended up
Hey,
anyway.
I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah. So a lot of people I think got their first exposure to you. Yeah, I know I did as well. Seeing you do work with ABK and doing some of the gathering stuff. Talk about kind of your time in there because that's when you really started to get your name out there as somebody that people were starting to take seriously. So and we don't have to go too depths into the obvious, but just kind of talk about your time during Native World and what that experience was like.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, if it wasn't for him, like I wouldn't be, where I am now. Like I probably wouldn't even still be doing it. Um, I learned so much from him that it's like I still use to this day. You know, um, as far as like how to set up a stage, how the business is ran, how to perform. Um, there's just so much that goes into it, and being able to watch him firsthand, do all these things really kind of helped mold me. I didn't set out to like be exactly like how he is. He's his own entity, his own thing. Um, you can't jock other people and expect to, do something significant. Like, it doesn't work that way. But what I learned from him, I was able to kind of, craft into, like, my own kind of style, incorporate different things, you know, uh, such as, like, just walking back and forth on the stage, like, actually, like, do movements and choreograph with your music, your movements, if you can avoid it, try to avoid just a bare stage, have some banners, or, nowadays the thing is video wall. That's expensive, so have some banners. You know what I'm saying? Like, props, different things, really add to your show, because your show shouldn't just be your CD. He even uh, explained to me, like, what a show mix was, because at first I was rapping all my songs over just the instrumental, like, no lyrics whatsoever, and I'm just like getting winded, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't sound as good as, like, a full show mix, where like, you leave
Right.
the hook on there, and then when the hook comes on, it's all hype, and, like, it's going with you, and, like, you got your breath points and all these things. So, and I mean, that's just, like, the bare minimum of what I learned from him. But yeah, if it wasn't for that era in my career, I definitely wouldn't have made it this far to be doing what I'm doing now. So got a lot of love for him, got a lot of respect for him, and I still do tours with him, to this day. Even if we're not a part of the same label anymore. Can't deny the game, man. Because if it wasn't for that, like I said, I wouldn't be here. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's fair enough. It's funny, and we'll get to this here in a second, because I'm just jumping ahead a little bit here. The tour
No,
that
for
I
sure.
went on, where me and you rode together for most of it, there's one point we're in LA, and we had the day off. There was a 2-day layover, and I met George and John Sustar, and I think Sean, maybe. I think that was it, at this place called the Stinkin' Rose, I think is what it was called. It's this restaurant where it was all garlic based. Like, everything in the house had something to do with garlic. It's not there anymore, unfortunately. But I remember there was this time where we're just sitting there having dinner or whatever, and George, just being funny, goes, "Hey, if you ever worked for ABK at one point in time in your life, raise your hand." And, like, everyone raised their hand, everybody that was at this table.
Yeah,
And but what was funny about that is, I'm kind of look at it, and I don't think it quite hit me, like, man, this dude has given a lot of people a lot of opportunities, and say what you will
absolutely.
of, how he does that kind of, how he does what he is. Everybody's got their own opinion. That's fine. It is what it is. Not trying to bring any of that
Yeah,
up, but the amount of opportunities that this dude has given people. Look, to be honest, we've talked about it a couple episodes. I did a interview with my old bandmates, Menace to Sobriety. He gave
yeah,
them their first shot. They would have never made it to the gathering if it wasn't for ABK. He's the one that set that up. Like, a lot of people owe their career to him. You know what I'm saying?
right, right. And there's a lot of people that I know of and that even will just not bring it up or deny it, and it's like, bro, like, whether you guys had a falling out or not, like, you know, guy put a lot of people on, man. Like, there's still so many people doing it now, and, like, even bigger now, that I'm just like, damn, man, without him, you definitely wouldn't be where you are now. So, like, I'll never deny that, personally. Gotta,
Yeah, for sure.
give props where it's due.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we had met a couple of times through me booking ABK shows at Odd Bodies, but where we
Yeah.
really got a chance to really sit down and really get to know each other was on the Psychomania Tour. Now,
Yep.
this
Yep.
tour was not as fucked up as my first one, which was the Spooktacular Horror Show Tour that I went on in Menace, but it was difficult in its own ways for multiple reasons, and then we'll get into me meeting you and having the time it's traveling that we did. Um, we walked into this tour not knowing what was going to happen. And I don't mean that from a perspective of, you never know what's going to happen on the tour, right? But we didn't know that we were going to be leaving and there was going to be a diss track dropped on Twiztid the same day. We also did not know by the time we got to Baltimore, Gmo Ski was going to respond to this diss track and create a month long of hell for everybody involved, because we had
Yep.
to deal with a lot of the blowback from that just as quote unquote crew members during that time. So that alone was enough to stress us out. You look like you got something to say there, so I'll go ahead and press pause and you can take over.
Just so many threats. So many threats. So many people saying they're gonna come shoot up the show, or they're gonna, you know, come and start swinging on everybody, crew and artists all involved, and just so much shit. And it's like, at the end of the day, nobody did nothing, And it's like, first of all, like, calm down, bro. Like, none of us are involved in it. That's their shit. And yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I think that's why I've been able to, you know, do tours and shows with both sides of this thing, is because it's like, it ain't got nothing to do with me. So I'm staying out of it. Like, if you show me respect, I'll show you the same respect. Like, it's simple as that. Like, I don't want to involve in other people's issues or whatever, because at the end of the day, I don't even know what happened. I wasn't there. So don't include me, please. But yeah,
Yeah,
just
you're absolutely right. I don't take anybody serious that still talks about the beef anymore anyway, because if they do, they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And you know exactly what I mean by that as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. And nowadays, it's like, so much shit just gets made up on the internet. Like, it used to be you go to the internet to find the true facts. Now you just go there and find a bunch of bullshit. So, yeah, you got to do your own research. And everybody knows somebody. And, things get told that go down the line. And it changes over time from mouth to ear. So it's like, the best thing to do is just stay out of it, spread positivity, leave the negativity behind, and just go on with your life.
Yeah, that's great advice. Well, so that was challenge number 1. Challenge number 2 was, I don't think, matter of fact, I know I wasn't mentally prepared to do what we did for that 30 days. So what happened was, the reason why I was even on that tour was because 2 weeks prior, their normal driver, who was PJ at the time, PJ couldn't do both tours. Now, I don't know if, okay, I say both tours. He was supposed to be on a run with, I think it was Boondocks, Lex the Hex. I don't think Blaze was on it, but they were running at the exact same time we were. You remember that? I think it was called the Murder Tour.
The Murder Tour, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, the Murder Tour, yeah. So he couldn't.
And the tours ended up overlapping.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. Yes, the tours ended up overlapping. So he couldn't do it. And I think they had someone else lined up, and within 2 weeks to go, I think they backed out. Either that or they didn't realize that they had some kind of conflict of interest. But regardless, I remember 2 weeks before the tour was starting, I got a call from Sean, and he was like, "Hey, would any of the Menace guys, being Menace to Sobriety in my band, because they knew we were workers, they knew we could, handle that kind of shit, and we were professional enough.
Yeah.
Like, would any of you Menace boys like to take this position? I know it's short notice." And at the time, my wife was like, 100% go. Yes, do what you got to do. Go build that relationship. Now she would say, fuck off. Like, at the point in time, she knew how important stuff like that was for me. So I had 2 weeks to prepare mentally and physically, because I was a lot heavier then than I am now. For those who don't know, I've dropped almost 70 pounds in the last 2.5 years. Like, I was not physically ready to do what we were about to do, but it was an opportunity, so I took it. So that in itself was another challenge for me. Another challenge, again, just being honest, I don't think I was mature to handle the situation, as mature as I should be, because that's a lot of pressure on an individual to have that much equipment. Like, I kind of knew what I was going to be doing. I didn't know I was going to have the whole fucking tour in the back. Like, that was a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying?
It's stressful. Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. And on top of that, the day we left, granted, he was kind of estranged at me at the time. The day we left, my father also passed away. So we had all these different elements. And again, it wasn't something that I was like super sad about, because we hadn't been close ever in my whole life. And I probably only seen him probably about 20 times in my entire existence. But, when somebody of that family, whether or not you knew him or not, yeah, you think about everything, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? You think of regrets, what you could have done, all that stuff, you know, and that was
right.
hard, you know? Um, so all those different things aside, but I did feel better because the day I got there, I think it was Mike. Mike goes, "Hey, you know Bakelo, right?" I was like, "Yeah, we've had a couple interactions with each other." He goes, "Oh, he's going to be riding with you through this." And immediately I was like, "Oh, thank God. At least I know that there's somebody that's going to be with me to kind of school me on this." So, and you did, bro. You were a big help in a lot of that. So for that, I got to say thank you because you helped
Oh,
show me
really?
the ropes
Thanks,
on
dude.
quite a bit.
I didn't. I don't know. I didn't know I was that helpful. Well, I appreciate it. I'm happy to help. I mean, it's the thing too is like it would have sucked to be driving that thing by yourself, you know. But then again, it also would have sucked to be driving it with someone who is just like annoying or doesn't know shit or just you know what I'm saying like don't give a fuck about nothing, you know. Gets in there half-ass drunk and just passes out while you drive. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that would have
That's cool,
absolutely
man.
sucked. I felt
Yeah.
more comfortable though right off the rip knowing that you were going to be there because I know that you had done that multiple times before prior. And not only that, there were times like I think oh God, I want to say it was, we were in New York. You're going to have to help me with this because you might remember this, you might not. There was one venue where it was like on a hill and the Twiztid tour bus driver had went to the hotel for the night so we couldn't back out. So I had to go through this real tiny alleyway. Now you had performed that night. You had killed it. You had a great night. Everybody was drinking. Everything, you know, everything was great. So it's time that I got to get down this tiny ass alleyway. And there's this drunk chick in my window trying to go, Jay, let me drive, Jay, let me drive. And you're right next to me and you're going, you're schooling it, bro. You're schooling it, bro. I'm telling you, you're doing a great job. She's next to me. Jay, get out of the car. I'll do it for you, Jay. Security is standing right next to this chick, is not removing her. And I think we're like 2 weeks into this point. I'm freaking the fuck out. The only thing keeping me sane from not opening the door and kicking this bitch in the dome was you just going, bro, you're schooling it. Keep going. Like you were being so encouraging. I don't know if you remember that or not, but that was very important to me because I was freaking,
you
bro.
you know it's crazy. I forgot all about that, but I definitely remember
Yeah.
that now. Oh man, I don't think that venue's even open anymore.
It wouldn't surprise me. It looked like a fucking diner.
Yeah, I don't think it's open anymore. I can't honestly like I couldn't even remember the name of it. Like I don't know how you got out the alley though. You got it. You schooled it. You got it out. You know, you should have just opened your door real quick, bumped her out the way, and then just kept backing up. No,
Yeah, all the things that we were dealing with by that point, I don't think a charge would have been a good one.
yeah, probably not. Yeah, no, yeah. I think part of me put a lot of that like locked it away in the back of my mind and threw away the key because so much happened on that tour, and like I remember I was in charge of like selling uh these CDs for them.
Hang on. Before you say that, I want to say
Okay.
this so you don't have to. You were way overworked on that tour. You did the job of literally three people, unless they needed you to perform, like you said you did before, four people.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
way overworked on that tour for sure.
yeah. I was selling those CDs. I know I was doing meet and greet. I was collecting money from these buy-ons. Yeah. Some nights I was performing. I was helping load in and load out. I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff that I was doing, man. And yeah, it's crazy, man. I kind of yeah, it was a stressful one, but that was my first like uh I think that was my first introduction to like touring with Twiztid as part of their crew. Because before when I toured with them, you know, I was out with Killa, so um, but I didn't even have to really do all that stuff. I just wanted to show how valuable I was, so I could, so I could go back out again. You know, it paid off. You know, it worked out.
Yeah, for
So
sure. For sure. There's a couple of moments that stick out in my head in particular about doing that. There we had been getting our ass kicked for like 2 weeks straight at the beginning to this tour, and we get all the way. Oh God, I forget what city it is. We were in. I don't know. I know it was a Holiday Inn Express because they always like putting us in a Holiday Expresses as a employee or crew member, whatever you want to call it. And we finally get a day off to where we can sleep in the next day. We don't have to go anywhere. I think I fell asleep before you did because at the time you were working out on that Grinch music stuff that you were doing at the time, which
Oh yeah,
we don't have to talk about that. I know, sore spot,
we can talk about it.
but
I don't care, but
but you were
yeah,
working
I
on
was
that very
outside on
heavily
the
at that
phone.
time.
Yeah, I was outside on the phone till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Every chance I had after the show, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, you were working your ass off on that stuff back then, and so I had already been asleep. Eventually, apparently, at some point, you fell asleep too because the next thing I know, I wake up to a dark room and the alarm's going off, and and our first night in 2 weeks to sleep in, and we get woke up
Oh,
by the fucking fire alarm.
part of me just wanted to just be like, whatever, dude. I'm just gonna stay here. Like fuck it. If it happens, it happens. And didn't we take the elevator down or some shit too?
Yeah,
we
yeah, because we
were
knew it was
supposed to, but
bullshit. Yes.
yeah, we were on like the fourth floor or some shit. Like I'm not walking all the way down the fucking stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, we had just had it with life by that point. We didn't even care if we died.
Fuck man. Oh
Which is
jeez.
it's funny because a couple weekends ago, mid-February, the same shit happened to me. I was in oh god, where Indianapolis at the Royal Rumble. We took a hotel and I did not want to stay in this hotel. But my wife
Yeah.
insisted we stay in this fucking hotel. Okay, fine. We get there. It's actually a nice hotel. Setup's good, all that kind of stuff. And then, sure enough, 4 o'clock in the morning. So I did the right
Oh.
thing. I went outside, went back upstairs. 20 minutes later, at that point, that's when I start remember I had PTSD from what we went through. And I'm like, I ain't fucking leaving. I know what's going on. This is a false alarm. Dog, this happened until
Right.
7 o'clock in the morning. For three
Oh
hours, the
hell
fucking
no.
fire alarm went off until we finally were like, we're not getting any sleep. Let's bounce. But that was the first thing I thought of was that moment with you in that hotel room.
Damn man. Yeah. Did we did we even ever find out what happened? Like if someone just pulled it, or if it was?
No, we never found because I think at that point we got as much rest as we could. I remember we woke up, got our shit, went downstairs, got some breakfast, and took off because I think
Yeah.
we had to be where because I think that was the same day we were supposed to be in Pittsburgh because they canceled that first was it Pittsburgh? Someplace in Philadelphia canceled, and we had to meet in
Yeah.
Pittsburgh for the next day's show. And that was the night we ended up going to the Tech Nine show and all that shit. So we just ended up splitting because our plan was to get up kind of early anyway and go, but we were going to be well rested at that point, so it didn't matter. So
Was it Pittsburgh or was it Massachusetts? Because was that at the Palladium?
no, it was definitely Pittsburgh because I remember walking outside and there was Heinz Field sitting right there.
Oh,
So
okay. Well,
we were definitely in Pittsburgh, but we could have been leaving Massachusetts. I see that's the thing is, man, all these shows end up running together and you forget.
yeah,
I
yeah.
always swore I was not going to be the guy that never forgot shows, and now I can't remember a goddamn one of them.
Well, that's how you know you've done a lot of cool stuff.
That's very true. That's very
But
true.
that's why I keep all my passes. I know some people sell them. I I keep them and frame them because when I'm old and can't remember shit, yep, I want to be able to look back at it and you know have those memories come back.
Matter of fact, case in point, this one right here. This is the
Oh,
one we're talking
hey,
about.
yep,
Psychomania.
yep,
I never got rid of it. As much as it gives me stress when I look at that thing because of all the stuff we went through. Um,
yeah,
and don't get me wrong. Like, we're sitting here talking about it. I did a lot of cool things during that tour. Getting to hang out at Santa Monica on our day off in LA, that was cool.
yeah,
Other than the fact if I had to play bodyguard for Gmo at the Whiskey A Go Go, it was really cool being at that venue.
yeah,
So let's
yeah,
go ahead and get past that part because you've gone on to do quite a few things obviously since then. I think that was in like what 2017. It's been almost 8 years at this point. Um, you have gone on And I'm not just saying this. You can go back and check my catalog if you want to. Anybody listening to this, I don't say this to anybody. You have gone on, in my opinion, to be one of the underground's most valuable hustlers. And I mean that from the bottom
Thank
of
you.
my soul. You do fucking everything. You do music, you do lights, you fucking break down. Like, no, if anyone needs something done and they need it done properly, they come to you. And not only that, you do it with a smile on your face. You do it to the best of your ability. And that's very rare in today's
Yeah.
scene because you don't have a lot of hustlers like that. Where does this desire to be the best you possibly be in all aspects come from? Because again, that is something a lot of people, and I don't mean this to be insulting, and I think you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know what I mean by what I'm going to say. A lot of people do this kind of stuff for the clout. They do it because they can be
Right.
the person next to the artist, not you. You do it because you love to do it, and you've got this insatiable desire to grind. Where does that come from? Do you think?
That's a beautiful question. Surprisingly, nobody's ever asked me that, and really glad you asked me that because nowadays, I'll get into it real quick. Nowadays it's such a the buy-on culture has fucking ruined the hard-working age. Like motherfuckers don't want to work for it no more. They want to buy onto everything, and then they wonder why uh, they don't get any opportunities past shelling out money. You know what I'm saying? If if it's ingrained in someone's mind that you're only around because you're paying them, like say I'm only around you because I'm paying to be around you. I'm paying to get on your shows. I'm paying to do this with you. That's what's going to be in your mind. Like, oh, I know this guy will give me money to come around. Buy onto my shows and do all this shit. Uh, that's what's going to happen. But back in the day, it was like, you used to work for years. You used to gain your stripes. Um, Hustle however you can get it, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wanted people to remember me by like, oh shit, I give this dude money and he delivers. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's what it is. That's why I don't come around a lot for free anymore. Unless it's for the love, unless it's, mutual respect or whatever. Like, you won't catch me at no fucking event doing something for free and you don't even give a fuck about me or care that I'm there or just, what I'm saying? Like mutual respect type deal. But uh I grew up really rough, dude. Like, my family didn't really, have any money. Like, we were like not even middle class, like lower class. Like shit was tough, dude. Like I dropped out of high school to get a job, you know what I'm saying? Cuz I was doing some other things. I won't say what I was doing to make money, but my mom really wasn't cool with it and shit. And that still to this day is the most important woman in my life because without her, I wouldn't be the man I am today. But so yeah, I had this hustle mentality since I was younger, and man, I really wanted to go on tour. I was like freshly rapping for maybe a year, and the main artist that would come around the area was ABK, because uh, Icarus was on Native World at that time. Like that was his dude, And he's like, you just gotta grind, man. You just gotta work, figure out different ways. He's like, I'll lead you, where I can, but I can't tell you what to do, and you be comfortable and good at it, like that. You got to figure it out on your own. So like, I was like, all right. So basically, you're telling me to get my hustle on, figure out how to get in. I would literally stay to like a lot of artists would dip, fans would dip. I would be one of the first people there, last to leave. Let me carry some boxes. Y'all need some help with something? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what can I do? Put me to work, And at this time it was free, sure, whatever. But I was, trying to hustle, trying to build myself. Next thing you know, I'm getting asked to go on tour to sell merch, and then, or to slang CDs in the line or in the lobby, or like, whatever I had to do to just be out on the road. And, it's expensive to live on the road. So, not just be out on the road, but to also make money while being out on the road. I don't want to spend money to be on the road. I'm fucking poor. I'm poor as fuck. Like, poor as hell. I'm like 15 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? What am I going to do? I'm going to fucking work for it. So, Uh, yeah, bro. Literally started just offering to fucking carry boxes, slang CDs, sell merchandise, set up banners and stage, check microphones. Then I started learning my real bread and butter, which was lighting, and uh, my first introduction to that was like this little board with these little knobs, and like you can do red, green, blue, like little bullshit. But then when I met Sean, he introduced me to like the real deal way to like program. Um, well, nowadays one of the real deal ways, because there's a million ways to do it, but this way is I've been doing it since for over 10 years now, and it's landed me a lot of jobs, a lot of tours, a lot of opportunities. But yeah, I'm still fucking grinding, man. I'm still hustling. So yeah, I don't know. I started in it with the mindset that like I'm gonna work for mine. Like I never expected any handouts or anything. Like and at the end of the day, man, I don't care about no clout, bro. Like I just want to make music, make experiences, and you know make some money to bring back home. You know what I'm saying? Take care of the people that took care of me when I had nothing. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, you've definitely accomplished that, in my opinion. You've got a brand new single out that I listened to this morning that I want you to talk about. A, because I think you deserve the limelight to have a chance to talk about some new stuff coming up. But not only that,
thank
again,
you.
this is something you can go back and check. If I know you personally, I have a really hard time listening to your music. I don't know what that is. I do that with everybody. If I know who you are, there's something mentally where I'm like, I can't take this seriously. Does that make sense to you,
It's
right?
it's the same way with me, bro. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I do have friends that I listen to on a regular. Like I've kind of got myself out of that, and I always wondered what it was. And I think part of it is because, like, at least for me, like I noticed as I'm getting older, it's been harder for me to get into new artists, and especially if they're my friends and like I'm around them a lot, or like they're an acquaintance and I see them a lot, or I see them perform a lot. It's like I've heard this so much, over the years that like I don't know, something in my brain says like I don't got to go out of my own to listen to it. But nowadays I'm like, man, that's a fucking banger. Like I'm gonna be sure to add this to my playlist and bump it. Like I'll make a mental note of it to actually do it and do it. But yeah, I don't know, something weird about it. And it's not like you just like hate your friends and don't want to listen to their music, like you know what I'm saying, or you're jealous of what they're
Right.
doing. Like no, it's not even that. It's just I don't know. I think a lot of artists deal with that. You know.
Well, that's good that it's not just me then, because that's something I've always kind of struggled with. But I say that to say this. I listened to your single this morning, and it's the reason, for those who don't know, this is obviously pre recorded. If you don't realize that, I don't know what to tell you. But I hit him up on a text message this morning after checking his page. I'm like, what's Bake up to? And I listened to the single, and I'm like, this is one of the best tracks I've heard come out of the underground in a really long time. And I don't
Thank
say
you.
shit like that unless I mean it. I want you to talk about this single, let people know where they can find it specifically, because there is a deep meaning behind this thing. That, and I like the little promo video you put together, a little gif of you floating in the
Yeah,
box. That's fucking hilarious. But I
I
think
do
it's a
all that.
really
I do all that myself too.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, I think it's a very deep track, and it speaks to me just listening to it. I don't know if it's because of where I'm at in life or whatever it might be, but man, it's a phenomenal track, and you deserve all the flowers you can
Thank
for it.
you. Thank you. So I assume you're talking about the song "Floating Away." Um, me personally, like, it's a beautiful song. Like I don't know if you ever had this thing where like you finish a song and you're just like, I've been needing to make this. Like not
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
oh, this is what I've been looking for, but it's like, no, I've been needing to get to the point in my life to where I can finally say these things and mean it. And ultimately, the song it's like a metaphorically beautiful uh, melody of growth. You know, if I had to explain it, I guess, because um, floating away, it's not just like I'm lost at sea, but like I'm finally escaping the past, the things that no longer serve me. Uh, and it can suck, man, because sometimes you'll lose friends you've been cool with for for life, or like you know different business things will go out the window, and you'll think like, oh man, what am I going to do now? But it's actually for good reason. The the success you're looking for could literally be on the other side of what you're about to lose. You know what I'm saying? So, growing out of these old things doesn't mean that you're screwed and that it's a bad thing. Maybe that's just God clearing the way for you. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I feel like the song was very important, because it made me realize like my own growth. And what's crazy was I sat down on my computer. I was making beats or whatever, yada yada, and then like, I had it in my mind, kind of like the melody in my head of like how I would rap it. But it was just random. Like I was just like, all right, whatever. So I started like building a beat around this, and then literally an hour later, what I'm saying, like beat was made, started writing to it. Hour after that, started recording it. About 4 hours, I had a fucking a song done, and yeah, I don't know. It's very beautiful, and unfortunately, I feel like a lot of my music is slept on, and it could go back to what you were saying, like when you know someone, you don't listen to the music as much. I know a lot of fucking people, and you know what I'm saying, like they'll share it. I do have a lot of people that do listen to my music, but I feel like it's so deep that maybe sometimes it could be too deep for people to want to understand or want to deal with, because a lot of people use music to escape reality. So that's why I wrote the lyrics in a way to kind of bend reality with the truth. So you're getting what's real, but with a twist. I don't know. I just think it's such a beautiful song, man, and I'm really proud of it. My evolution has came a long way from the music I used to do, which is what I thought I needed to make, to the music I do now, which is what I actually want to make.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, I'm a big fan of it. I can't wait to hear what else you got coming out soon. And I definitely think if you're listening to this, you need to give this man your support. He worked for it his entire career. He's one of the few people that I can sit here and say without a shadow of a doubt, if there's anyone you should support, it's that guy right there. And that song is fantastic. It's in my regular playlist. I've got a playlist on Spotify that I play every day.
Thank you so much.
I added it to the rotation this morning. So I will be at least bumping yo shit if nobody else does. But you should. If you're watching this right now, you absolutely should. Give this man your ear, man. He works hard for it, and he deserves his flowers. Even though, hey, and let's be real. A lot of people know Bake Low, like you said, and a lot of people fuck with Bake Low. Let's show him the support he deserves, for sure. Well, brother, I appreciate you joining me today, my man. It's been awesome talking with you for the last 45 minutes. I always give the last couple of minutes of the interview to my guest. If there's anything that you want to plug, socials, where they can buy your albums, where you're going to be next. I know we got a big event coming this week as of this recording. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
So I'm everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, whatever you prefer, I'm on there. My website is bakelow.com. Super simple. I have merchandise available on there. This weekend, which I'm sure this episode will already be out, but I'm going to be performing Return of the Ninjas, an Astronomicon event. Super excited about that. And I have some really dope stuff and really dope tours coming up this year that unfortunately isn't announced yet, so I can't really talk about it just yet. But yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited for it, man. I release at least one song a month. So like, if you follow me, you're gonna always get content, and you always get positivity. Like, I ain't got no time for no bullshit. I'm trying to make bread. I'm sure you're trying to do the same, and I'm trying to make good music, as I'm sure fans out there are trying to hear the same. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm just ready to keep working. Ready to roll, man, and I appreciate you having me on the show, bro. I'm honored.
Absolutely. Hey, I knew this was going to happen eventually. It's just all about timing, and this just felt like the perfect time. I don't know if I just was supposed to get on your page at the right moment and listen to that track and get inspired, but like you said, maybe sometimes it's God just leading it out in that way. So I wholeheartedly believe in that. And yeah, for sure, for sure. Bake, thank you so much, my man. It's been a pleasure.
I appreciate you, Jay, man. Look forward to seeing you soon.